Hello there, everyone, and welcome. Sorry about that, I had a little bit of pause. I have a coffee in front of me, almost spilled it there in that moment, so that's why there was a little bit of a pause there. Okay. So we're going to continue. We're going to have to make a few decisions this turn, which... this stream, which shouldn't be too bad. It's mainly getting through the actual ground. It'll get faster, we'll see anyway, we'll see. We'd more or less committed the air that we had. And I did have a good question, by the way, about like why I was redeploying air to Moscow. Because it doesn't need to go to Moscow to be repaired. It can just go into any airfield. It's a great point. Thank you very much, Wesley, for pointing that out. The reason why I have been doing that, and I'm not saying it is a correct decision, is just on the off chance. So essentially how it works with airfields is like you have them on the airfields and then they can be recovered. Now, aircraft, as far as I know, cannot attack them when they're on the airfields. But there's a situation that occurred over here in the north is like, obviously this stack over here rose up to interceptors. Now, if we were to actually break into the airfield, actually take the airfield itself, take the province and the airfield, then everything in that airfield can be wiped out. So I'm not a massive fan of that. I do try to make sure that we have a contiguous front line and that I do have assets in place to protect from that sort of thing. But I do feel if it's in Moscow, it's pretty safe. So, yeah, it's one of those. You don't have to do it, but sometimes little things become habits. Let's take a look at what's going on over here then. So we have our forces over here in West Berlin. Now, they could move out a bit, of course, but this is the thing. West Berlin's still held by NATO forces, which is not exactly ideal. I'm hoping that we should be able to deal with it sooner enough. I'd very much like to get these assets elsewhere, really. But we'll manage. Alright. Yeah, I'd accidentally moved that unit here by mistake, but at least they do have additional movement over here. Interesting. Strategic transport. Okay. Yeah, so we should be able to move them out fairly quickly. These need to be hidden essentially. Maskarovka, I'm going to be using that and trying to be a SOB with it. And we have moved up over here as well, which is quite good. So... these guys are pretty weak. I could. There is like a theory that I could move on. Well, there's not a theory. It is like I can't do it. Like I could advance on here, and that is a pretty tempting thing to do. I would need to have more forces, and I really don't know what is in here. I know there's an air defense, but there could be other things in here. There's also in-placed units here, so they're not going to go down particularly easily. It would be nice to cut off this rear. It really would be. I wish this was an empty hex, otherwise we could get around here and like take these additional victory hexes. But can't guarantee it. But what we're going to go ahead and do now then is I'm going to set up the force that will attack Hamburg. I also do have these forces that can be moved out of here. I'm going to have the air landing units basically recovered. And they can be recovered. They can be recovered. I don't think I can ever drop them again, but they can be just utilised like other units, and at the end of the day they are very good. So let's take a look. How much can we get in here? I'm going to turn this off for now. It would be nice if we did have other colour options for this, as I know that some people have issues with the blue and the red. So it would be nice to have a few options there. I'll have to mention that to the developer. Let's take a look then. So, we have Hamburg. Now, I'm not entirely sure how much to expect, but also, I want to go ahead and get... interesting. Okay. See, that's very interesting. I do want to have this road, because if you take a look over here, I can cross the riverbank. I can cross the river to the other bank there. It would cost me quite a few points. If I sound a little bit sluggish, it's because I went to the gym earlier on, just doing a lot of walking, and then I had something to eat not long ago, and now I'm just in that food coma. So I'm trying to get back with it. Okay. Right, so we know they're going to need engineers for this. I don't really need engineers elsewhere. I mean, obviously they're coming in handy, but I don't think I'm going to be engaging here at Lübeck. I mean, I'd like to, because obviously I do need to deal with these forces over here at Lübeck, and there is like a fair amount of force here. I'd prefer to engage them before they linked up, but again, it comes down to, is it worthwhile doing? If I take a look over here at Lübeck, it's not exactly an ideal place I want to be, you know, hitting. I'd rather deal with them with a sledgehammer than with a precise tool. And what I mean by that is I would rather throw a very strong force at it with a single mind, rather than it being an incidental thing. So we'll get to them. We'll get to them. But that time is not right now. So let's take a look. What we're going to need here to assault the city. Aircover is an important thing to have. I do have the Polish engineers in here as well, which is good. We also do have some additional Poles in here, and there's also a Polish army in here, which is of course very useful. It does ensure that we can actually get as much into here as possible, so that is a good thing to have. Now, let's take a look. So we have the Polish tank divisions over here. These are T-55 and T-72. Okay. Do I want that, is the question. So this is dense urban terrain. Okay. So there's no armor superiority bonus. Which does lead me to believe, is it worth sending armor into Hamburg? It may very well not be. So just incidentally, here's this reconnaissance unit. I believe it can act as a reconnaissance unit as it has that, but I cannot be entirely sure about that. Looking forward to when the manual comes out. The search bonus does lead me to believe that it is a reconnaissance element, but interesting. Right, let's take a look then. So I've got a lot of mechanized over here. Motorized, whatever you want to call it. I suppose they're not tracks there, I guess motorized. And we do have the Polish over here as well. Okay. What do I have behind them? We have artillery behind them, which is very useful. I believe I have an artillery division around here. You're around here somewhere. I know they're around here somewhere. Where's that artillery division? Somewhere here, I swear. I swear it is. Maybe it's to the south then. Oh, maybe it's just coming up the road. Nope. But that unit needs to move out there. Okay. I have the Polish, I do need to keep on moving up. Where the heck is that artillery division? I swear to God I have an artillery division somewhere. I could swear about that. Anyhow, let's take a look then at what we have here then. So we have reconnaissance elements over here, BRDM2. We have artillery, engineers, artillery, okay. We have the electron warfare over here. Yeah, these guys are very useful. We've got the KGB, which is obviously very, very good to have in there. Okay. Now the question comes down to, where would I send the tanks if I don't send them there? And it does imply that the armor is not going to perform well. Well, it's not that it's not going to perform well, it's just not going to give me that advantage. Now this is urban area. Yeah, no armor superiority bonus. Here, no armor superiority bonus, and that's due to the forest, interesting. But we should... No armor superiority bonus? Cities and forest, okay. And here, Lübeck. Alright, okay. But over here I would gain armor superiority, so that's worth bearing in mind. Obviously the urban centres are going to make things difficult. Over here at Rothenburg, yes, we will have our armor superiority, so I will gain that on the morale. Over here at Wolfsburg, oh no, that's Salzgitter. Oh, Wolfsburg, no armor superiority bonus, okay. So I need to bear that in mind for when I do commit forces. Like for example over here, no armor superiority bonus, which is interesting actually, because that means that his tanks actually, of course they're going to function as tanks, and tanks tend to function in such a way that is quite tanky. Obviously they can dish out punishment and they can take it, but they're not going to gain an advantage for it. Okay, we'll bear that in mind. So what I'm thinking about here then is, let's see. So I do have a number of tank divisions I could obviously go either to the north or to the south. The south is an interesting proposition because right now, looking at things, he has the Germans over here. It has the, I'm going to assume the Dutch over here. We're obviously engaging the Dutch army over here. I do have an army punching through here. I should be able to move additional forces down here as well. But the question comes to, what do I do with the north? And it may very well be quite good to actually push forward the tank divisions and actually engage here. So if I engage him in this position here, I do gain that armor superiority bonus, which does mean that I gain additional morale in the battle, which means I can actually hit him more. Less likely to run as well, so that's a good thing. If I go south, I could get that armor superiority over there. Not here, of course, but I could get it here. Now they have 5. Could maybe make it there. There's also a good consideration of the fact that I do have a lot of force behind here, and I actually can't employ all of this force. So in some ways it may be beneficial to actually spread somewhat out, so I can actually employ more of this force and actually make a great use of it. But that's interesting. We have an option to potentially go down here and possibly cut the city off. But the issue is I'm engaging against, like, well, I'm not engaging against it directly, but this is a force that has to be respected. I do not know its strength, but I do not want to go off half-cock, basically. I want to make sure that we hit things properly. I do have this army over here as well. Of course, they gain the additional mobility, so they'll have less combat factor, but they'll be able to take out this force, I'm pretty sure. And then they can follow up, and then they can punch them through here. Of course, the additional reinforcements as they come through will be useful too. Alright, so let's take a look then. I think I have a tank divisions go to the north then, but we'll see about that. In some instances, it may not be worth it, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to actually have the additional tank divisions here. So let's take a look at what we could potentially do here. And what I'm going to first go ahead and do then is just take a look at the Polish elements over here. Right, so we've got the Poles. We have artillery here. Artillery is going to be coming in quite handy. So that takes me down to 81 out of 83 strength points. That takes me down to a stack value of 17. Okay, so I could fit quite a bit in there. We also do have the artillery over here. Yeah, army artillery group. Army artillery group. Okay. The artillery does come in very, very useful. Divisional artillery, okay. Over here. Yeah, additional artillery, okay. In here then. Right. So maybe I have the Polish continue to push up over here. The problem is I do not have an army to lead them, and that is quite a big problem. Now, if I take out the Polish army commander over here, that does cause me problems. But in some ways, it may not be a terrible thing, because what I can go ahead and do is, let's see... Did I give all the engineers over here? I may have gone ahead and done that, but I feel like I may have some up here, perhaps. It seems not. Okay. Right. There will be additional engineers moving up here, but not right now. Okay, not right now. Right, okay. So the problem is, if I move up here without the army command, I do run the very real risk of not being able to succeed there due to the actual morale of the Polish. The Poles, these guys have 2. These guys also have 2, which is not bad, actually. There are some units that do have 1. Soviet forces do tend to have at least 2, and sometimes you'll see ones with 3 as well, so that's not bad. Of course, the KGB do help here. Right. I do have 2 Soviet army commands in here, in fairness, so I'm already overstacked, to a degree anyway. I could take out the KGB unit, or potentially take this out, it depends. Throw the KGB unit over here. Useful, but it comes down to the question of like how useful. Let's see. I am going to win the Battle of Hamburg. The question is, if I win it hard enough, I may not have to deal with a siege, but I feel like I'm going to have to deal with a siege anyway. So, okay. Let's see. That's a 2, that's a 3, okay. These are fairly small for what they are. So that's a 3-3 there. 2-3. These guys, 4-3, 3-3, okay. So what I'm thinking about here then is... What else do we have? 4-3. Now these are very good in fact. 5-5. You're getting more out of them for the same amount of command points. What do we have here? Okay. Anti-tank. I do have some artillery over here. 3-3. These guys, 4-4, okay. They do have very good mobility right now. How you doing there, Sweden? In terms of winning the campaign, I'm not honestly sure. Like, don't worry about this. This is just where I like had air mobile units move through and just like take over territory that wasn't defended. As for winning it, it's going to be an interesting one. We are dealing, like, the Warsaw Pact forces, the Soviet and the Warsaw Pact forces in general, are all modernized, but so is the entirety of NATO. I did want to land on Denmark with amphibious and airborne forces, but that wasn't possible, really. I did have my VDV taken out outside of Bremen. I think it's Bremen, yeah. So we've lost a couple of those VDV divisions. These guys, obviously, were here to just secure this position, but they were terribly weakened. So it's going to come down to conventional. I did ask people when I started this campaign, should I use chemical or nuclear, and it was basically a no on that one. So we're running this conventional, which is going to be an interesting one. I do need to get a new mouse, because this mouse is really buggered. Anyhow. Oh, I do have an army commando over here in fairness. Oh, okay, right. I'm going to go ahead and accept that I want to have as much in this and try and win this. So I've got an army stack of 12 here. What I'm going to go ahead and do then is I'm going to commit these guys to the battle, and then I'm going to go ahead and beef them up as I can. Right. That would be good. Let's go ahead and check on these units, see if I can get an idea of their situation. I do know that this stack does need a lot of foraging, so I do need to have supply. We are within our supply line, so I think we're okay, but there's always a risk. Right. I think what we'll do then is commit artillery. Right now I have 73 out of 75 strength there, but having artillery would be quite good in this situation, I feel. Right. That's not bad 3-3 actually. For one, it's not bad at all. Let's move into some additional artillery here then. The Battle of Vienna, the battle over the skies of Vienna has been in motion. The battle for Vienna itself has yet to begin. It will begin at the end of this turn, however. I'll give him a little bit more in the way of artillery, I believe. I do wish I had some additional engineers, but I do not. There is artillery here, but I can't fit that in there. So I'll give them this group of artillery. Alright, there we are. Okay, so of course these guys need to head back. And they will. I could have them move back into friendly territory. Though in fairness, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I want to have them somewhere where they're going to be protected from air power. Oh, these guys are committed to battle, in fact, so I'd want to have a unit... I'd want to have a force moved up here anyway, so okay, that's fair enough. Okie dokie. So... what I'm going to go ahead and do then... okay. Let's see if I can move in here first. I would like to have some forces move in here, actually, but I want to see what I have to make that a real possibility of success. So I have the Polish forces over here. Now that is 28 stack in value. These air mobile are very useful, so I will hold on to them. They're going to be coming in handy very soon. Now, there's not much here, so we should be able to deal with this pretty easily. But I may be able to surge on forward, which would be quite useful in of itself. So what I'm going to go ahead and do then is grab these elements over here, support elements, and a bit of mass. 25. Alright, how much got here? 13. So I can't fit everything in here. That's 9. Let's see. That's a large group. Four is quite heavy. So I can get 2 more in there, okay. Got a little bit more over here. That's a 2, that's a 2. I don't know if they can actually make it over there due to the actual... there's not a road here, so it may not be likely to happen. 3. Okay. What are these ones? So they could move into there to help engage. So I'll hold them as an option. I do have some KGB in here, that's good. Oh, there's additional supply in here. I didn't mean to have that much more supply in there. I didn't realise there was a second unit, or unit already in there. That's a bit of a boo-boo. What have I got here then? That's a 1. Right. That's a 2. I'll go ahead and get some anti-tank in there. I don't know, move them in there. Right, okay. So I'm going to move the Polish forces up over here then, and I guess we will push there. Don't know how it's going to go, because ideally it would be... Then again, maybe it's not worthwhile to do. Maybe I do have a Polish to secure my position. I probably could push against this, and there's probably no issue. But I have got to respect the fact that my morale isn't great with Warsaw Pact units, so it can definitely swing against me. Having KGB in there does help out a tremendous deal, but they can't be guaranteed. They cannot be relied upon. But it is worthwhile at this point pushing on forward. I would say so. I could even have these guys move over here to actually reinforce this, but I don't believe it's necessary, really. But we'll see. So I think we'll have these guys group. Can they make it in there? They can't make it in there. Well, they can't go in there alone, I believe. They should be able to make it in there. So I do want to make sure there's a KGB unit in there to give them that morale boost. Right. So I want to have like a Soviet force here, then, and that gives me like a solid second line. These guys can shift over here. They can dig in as well, and then I'll have them recovered. I'll also move up some elements here, probably some Maskarovka units, and then that keeps them safe. We'll see. Right, just take out these elements. I've also got this air mobile unit over here. They can move very, very rapidly. Alright, let's move the stack. Okay. These elements over here too. Doubt they've got enough to get over there. Yeah, not going to happen. But I can move them over here. If I have German border guard, I'd probably want to shift them up to the north, in fairness. Which... not likely to happen. Okay. So looking at things, then we do obviously have a strong Soviet force that can move in here. There will be forces move in here as well. I don't believe I'm going to be crossing over here. Though technically I could cross over here with some of the units. It's just whether it's worth it or not. I could always move additional units in here. I could always even move these guys in here if I wanted to, in fairness. Though saying that... I'm not too sure if they can retreat anywhere, and I think this force will be destroyed. It doesn't hurt to have forces here anyway, but we'll see. Maybe I could even have a force translate over here, but I doubt that's going to happen. Let's go ahead and take a look at what options we have here, man. So if they went there, they could move without the supply truck across there, which is not a bad thing. There's all these other elements that could move in up here as well. There's plenty of stuff to move up. Plenty of stuff. These guys, 9 units. Obviously I can move an additional here. Oh, they could move in, that's good. Right. I am going to go ahead and actually commit the Polish to battle. Can I get in there too? Oh, I think everybody can maybe get in there. Oh, almost. Alright. So see, I am moving via road movement over here, which is very handy. Or actually... Oh, it's the same anyway. So I'll go ahead and move these elements over here then. Got the Maskarovka, which I could have sit in here if I so wish it. We have these other elements. These motor Strelki, motor Schutzen, I should say, will be heading this way. I need to finish, funnel the East German to this part here. Alright. So I got this guy. Alright. Yeah, again, I don't think it's going to do me... It may be worthwhile to have something here, but I'm going to have forces move up here, I believe, anyhow. I mean, there's all this force over here that can move alongside, so... we'll sort that one out shortly. I've got these other forces here. So frankly, what I want to go ahead and do here then is, if I can, maybe have some Soviet forces on the other side of the river here. It may be worthwhile having, because it gives me options then. I need to try and take out these guys, but I also do need to have like a significant enough mass to be able to kick his ass. And in fairness, maybe I can get enough stuff over here and even potentially engage here. I really want to engage him everywhere I can, because he's going to gain strength, but if I can try and cause as many losses now before he has the opportunity to recover them, or even to save them, that could be useful. But let's take it one step at a time. I will have additional forces moving this way, but they're not here right now, and I do need to remember that. These guys have a lot of movement, though, so that's very nice. Strange one. Is there... okay, there's a border guard unit here. Okay. Yeah, so they could move over that way. In theory. These guys are in such a horrific position. Really, really quite bad. So we'll move them last. Right. So let's take a look. So this can't go down there. Yeah, and they can't go down there, okay. I think what I want to go ahead and do then is just assemble a very strong force to follow up with. Then I do have that. Obviously I'll take an army from here then to lead it as well, but this is going to be like a second army basically. So that's 21 stack in there, right? Wow. So it takes me up to 32, but that gives me a very strong force to work with. I still have additional forces behind here. Not so much like frontline units, mostly artillery. So I may have like an interest to... Like these guys could engage in that battle. They could engage in that battle. Is there anything else I could engage here? That's the question. We'll see what we have down here in fairness. These border guards, I do probably... Maybe even move them up to the north or move them somewhere, but I'll have to make use of the border guard. Alright, let's take a look. Now, the road over here is a bit of a pain in the ass. I doubt he's going to be doing anything here, but these guys... well, I do have the border in here, in fairness. Right. I think these are just a security division. Yeah, so they can't move in there. Okay. Some pretty sufficient, some pretty significant forces over here, actually, I should say. I also do have, like, nearly every helicopter in the Soviet Union in that battle. We'll take a look at Vienna then, just so you guys can get an idea of what's going on here then. So I do have forces basically on standby. This force is very weak, I'd like to recover it. This one's kind of just guarding here, the rear. We managed to get about 91 strength value in there, obviously it's 92 total, but 91 actual effective. We have multiple army commands in there. It's got 2 Hungarian armies, the Czech army, and the engineers. We also do have some additional Hungarian trucks over here that are good for engineering works. Quite a few units in here, really. I'm hoping it will be enough, but I doubt it. I'm going to have to probably play everything I can to try and get Vienna. Taking Vienna quickly would be a pretty important deal there. These guys want to be moving up this way. I could even have them move down south, but in fairness, I want to make sure I have a strong push this way. And then we're going to get to the hard question over this way, so we'll see what we can do about that. Love the Maskarovka. Alright, let's see. I am going to go ahead and take this force this way. Now, I've still got some movement here then. These guys can't move any further, so they're going to be left behind. Now, that's a real interesting proposition I hadn't actually considered before this point. Is, do I attack here? That is a very interesting one. It may very well cover my flank. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I really do need to see if I have the forces sufficient to do that, because they're not weak. They're not super strong there, but they're not weak either. How you doing there, Shu? Good to have you. Yeah. I tell you what, I really... In future games, and there will be future games, I'm going to be playing a game against Steel Division League as well, actually. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be quite a lot of fun. So I'm learning a lot of things, and I definitely will be using Mashkarovka in better ways, because these guys are they're just great. Just use them as they're meant to be used. Because it's like, for example, I don't know how much is going in that stack. The bigger the stack is, the scarier the stack is. But if it's just full of Mashkarovka, like, that's hilarious. But it's very useful, which is great. So let's take a look at what we have and what we can actually bring into this battle here then. So that is going to be quite important. Oh, God, that's good. Okay, so I can get in those forces there, and that's good. I don't have a command in here, which is a little worrisome, I must say. Right, I've got EBTs over here, mechanically worn out tanks, okay. There may be additional assets around here, but this is very interesting. If I engage here, can I even win it, though, is a question, because I'm going to something that I actually do not have full... Like, this is not very strong right now. And it doesn't have a leader, it doesn't have those benefits. So do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? It is an opportunity to hit the forces here on the front line. But it does potentially open me up to a counterattack as well, because if I move out here, this is -2, yeah, land attack, -2 combat penalty. Defender has +1 defense and morale bonus, okay. Wolfsburg is likely to fall this turn. If we take a look at Wolfsburg, that's 70 out of 71 strength points, 28 stacking value. This is 28 stacking value, and I'm considering setting a stack that's half as strong versus something that is actually stronger than the defences here. Granted, they're not attacking here because the defences are believed to be strong, but attacking here so they can actually go on the road there. But what I may want to go ahead and do then is just consider my actual effective strength. I do have an opportunity even moving across here in fairness, so let's think about this. So they have to go through this province anyway. So let's move them up a little bit further. So what has that done for us? That has protected this province here. Wish I could put Maskarovka in there if I wanted to do so. I'm a big fan of Maskarovka. Big fan. Right, let's see. I want to get these additional forces this way. I also don't want to be so weak that I have nothing behind this, but I'm going to be bringing the East Germans down here to fill in that gap, so that's not as much of a problem. But there are no Soviet reinforcements behind this push. The Soviets are here. And we are here in a big way, but I need to maintain that. Of course, we do have these other forces over here, so I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is get them shifted up, and then we'll decide. There's always that chance I could move in there if I want to. I could even move them up to support these forces here if I wanted to. But we'll take a look. I'll get these forces moved up, and then we'll make a big decision at that point. Where Maskarovka could even be very useful over here, because it can potentially absorb hits. Me tripping over my words in my assignment. So that's 20, so that could be moved in there. So let's move this up to this position here then. Okay. Now what do I have remaining? These guys, what do they have? What do they lack? They actually don't have air cover, which is a bit of a problem. There's some air cover here I could send if I wanted to. I could even send additional artillery if I wanted to, which would be quite interesting. 5 is actually quite a lot. How far can they go? 5.5. Damn it. So that's 6. That'd take me up to 30. Do I really want to have mechanically worn out tanks in there? They're really not very strong. These guys are just essentially border guard units at this point. Second line units. You could even call them second line units. Right, so that is for... I've got artillery and I've got anti-tank in here. I need to have some AA. That'd take me up to another 4 there. Right. 8. Let's reinforce our Polish brothers here. So what did we give them here? So they've got the KGB in there, but we've also got the 2 S5s. So that's additional self-propelled artillery. We have the BRDM 284s, so that is a T. We have the ZSU 57-2 for the SPAA. And then we've got the SA4s over here then for the additional AA. So everybody has what they need. The important thing is as well as I can actually move up the additional assets over here. Like this fine fellow. So they can move up into here. The 2S7. Amazingly big cannon there. Yeah, 2S5 and that's the 2S7. Cool. Right. What is the air defense of this stack over here then? These guys do have 1-1 for air, which is pretty useful. There's actually quite a lot here there. Yeah, quite a lot here, sorry. 2-3. Not very strong, actually. I think what I want to go ahead and do is move up Maskarovka